Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Can I have a roll call, please?
Councillor Clemens?
Present.
Councillor Langevin?
Present.
Councillor Livingood?
Present.
Councillor Marcucci?
Excused.
Councillor McDonald?
Excused.
Councillor Nicola?
Present.
Councillor Regis?
Excused.
Councillor Spinelli?
Here.
Councillor Vandal?
Present.
Okay. 6 present, 3 excused.
Thank you. Agenda item number 3, consider and accept the council minutes of Monday, February 6th, 2012.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion, corrections? All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you. Agenda item number 4, subcommittee reports, general government. Councilor Spinelli.
Well, I have the minutes from 2 meetings. The first one, January 31st, was really a meeting where we did preliminary discussions on human resources and the role of human resources and what we would need to do to start standardization. And that was essentially the whole meeting. If anybody wants to read the full minutes of that meeting, January 31st, 2012, they were posted. The General Government Subcommittee also met again on February 16th. Agenda item number 1 for that evening, vote to approve the audit engagement letter with auditors Roselli, Clark and Associates. This was done by a 4-0 vote in favor. Agenda item number 2 was the vote to approve the renewal of the license agreement between Jeffrey Tassi, trustee of Alcoma Realty Trust, for 10 parking spaces under the deck of the Elm Street parking lot. This was also approved to go forward by a 4-0 vote. Agenda item number 3, vote to approve the bid proposal of Vision Government Solution to perform the FY 2013 real estate tax recertification process. This also received a 4-0 vote to go forward to the council. Agenda item number 4, vote to approve the bid proposal of Real Estate Research Consultants Incorporated for revaluation of the personal property. This again passed by a 4-0 vote and went forward to recommendation for council. Motion was made to adjourn. The meeting was adjourned at 6:15 p.m. I have no meetings scheduled at this time.
Thank you, Councilor. B, DPW, Councilor Vandal.
Madam Chair, a meeting of the DPW Subcommittee was held on Wednesday, February 22nd, 2012, in the Rice Conference Room. In attendance were myself, Subcommittee members Councilor Langevin, Councilor Marcucci, citizen members Mark Moran and Maurice Capistran. Also in attendance were Councilor Nicola, Councilor Regis, Town Manager Clark, Tom Daly, and Paul Krasneski. I call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. Agenda item number 1. Vote to enter into contract with Alanco Service Corporation. Tom Daly discussed the broken boiler at the wastewater treatment plant. They went out to bid and received 4 bids. The lowest bidder was Alanco Service Corporation with a bid of $37,000 for the repair of a broken boiler and to convert the 2 boilers to gas. Tom Daly said, "We will be receiving a $7,500 rebate from National Grid and also anticipate a $5,000 a year savings by converting to gas. This contract will be funded out of the FY 2012 capital budget." A motion was made by Councilor Marcucci and seconded by Mr. Capistran with a favorable recommendation to council to enter into contract with Alanco Service Corporation for a wastewater treatment facility boiler conversion in the amount of $37,000 to be funded out of the FY 2012 capital budget. Vote by show of hands. All in favor, 5-0. Agenda item number 2. Vote to enter into contract with MHQ to purchase an F-350 dump truck. Tom Daly discussed the need of the sewer department for plowing, sanding, and so forth. The sewer department could be self-sufficient when the need arises without having to rely on the highway department. A 1995 Ford Ranger will be replaced by this vehicle. This has been budgeted for in the existing sewer department capital budget. No additional funds are being requested. A motion was made by Council Langevin and seconded by Council Marcucci with a favorable recommendation to council to enter into contract with MHQ to purchase an F-350 dump truck with a small stainless steel sander body under the Plymouth County Commissioners Cooperative Procurement Contract in the amount of $43,500. Vote by show of hands, all in favor, 5-0. Agenda item number 3, discuss the railroad crossing at East Main and Hook Street. Council Vandal discussed the rail crossings. These are getting very bad. Mr. Daly said he would be able to get this job done this year. Agenda item 4, discuss security lighting at Morris Street Field. I received a complaint from neighbors. Mr. Daly will take a look to see what can be done. It was suggested that a motion light might be useful in the area. Council Vandal received a call regarding getting rid of tree limbs during the winter. Mr. Daly said the site was closed for the winter, but would be open sometimes in March. Council Langevin discussed the pickup of Christmas trees and suggested that we have a dump site where residents could take their trees to be disposed of rather than having our DPW department go around collecting Christmas trees. A motion to adjourn was made by Council Marcucci and seconded by Mr. Capstrand. Vote by show of hands, all in favor, 5-0. I adjourn the meeting at 7:30 p.m. Respectfully submitted, Evelyn Rivera, recording clerk. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Counselor. E, Education and Human Services, Counselor Clements.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As I'd mentioned at the last meeting, we did have a EHS meeting on Wednesday, February 1st. I didn't have the minutes at the last meeting. I have them now. That meeting, as I mentioned, the agenda item on it was the Bay Path presentation on the needed renovations to the Bay Path Regional Vocational High School. And we had a very good presentation by David Papagni. Sorry about that, Mr. Papagni, the Bay Path superintendent. He introduced his team, the finance advisor, and also the project building people that were working on the new projections for Bay Path and the new renovations that we would be involved in. And as I said, it was a really good presentation. Those minutes are available to anybody. They are lengthy who would like to see them. We also had a meeting on Wednesday, February 15th. There were 3 agenda items, and there was a vote to approve the appointment of Tracy Benoit to the Commission on Disabilities. That was postponed for further information by a favorable vote of 4-0. Agenda item 2 was vote to approve the appointment of Max Gullickson to the Cable Advisory, and that was voted in favor to recommend to Council 4-0. And the agenda item number 3 was vote to approve the appointment of Linda Jowett to the Historical Commission, and that was also approved, all in favor, 4-0. We did decide at that meeting to call another meeting, which we've now had. It was Thursday, February 23rd. I do not have the minutes for that meeting. However, at that meeting, it was to discuss, again, the appointment of Tracy Benoit to the Commission on Disabilities, and I'm glad to say that that passed favorable recommendation, all in favor for that to send up here to council, so that's on the agenda for this evening. We also discussed a number of items in regard to the school building project in technology, and those were all passed favorably for recommendation to here to the council, and they are on tonight's agenda. When I have the full meeting minutes, I can discuss them more. At that point, though, I believe the items will have been addressed. So if you would like any copies of these minutes, they are available to you in the town manager's office. And we do have a meeting scheduled, to my knowledge, on Tuesday, March 6th at 7 o'clock. I believe it's in the Rice Conference Room. I just have to double check with the office to make sure that's the room they gave us. It's in regard to the Randolph Pool project that's been ongoing. This meeting was actually called some time ago, and it will be posted this week appropriately for anybody who would like to come and hear what's going on with that, the pool project, which has been in the works for the last year and a half, almost 2 years. Please feel free to attend the meeting next Tuesday. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Counselor. D, Planning and Development, Counselor Livingood.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On Thursday, February 16th, we had a meeting of the Planning and Development Subcommittee. The meeting was called to order at 7 o'clock. Agenda item 1 was the vote to appoint Cheryl Mishazek to the Planning Board. A motion made by Councilor Spinelli and seconded by Ms. Petrelli with a favorable recommendation of the council to appoint Cheryl Mishazek to the Planning Board for a 3-year term to expire June 30th, 2015. Vote by show of hands, all in favor, 4-0. Agenda item 2, discuss a letter received from the president of Midstate Welding Incorporated regarding interest in a 4-acre lot parcel on Commercial Drive. Mr. Clark discussed the offer made by Midstate Welding and asked the council for input as to the options and distributing electricity to the site. Mr. Clark said he offered Midstate a lease, but they want to purchase. In order to comply with the law, 3 things need to be done: get an appraisal, get a declaration that there is no municipal need for the land, and get approval by the council. Mr. St. Jean suggested that an easement clause be put in any contracts on Commercial Drive for installation of future utilities. Motion was made by Councilor Spinelli, seconded by Councilor Nicola, with a favorable recommendation to council to approve the process to begin on the sale of A&R lots directly along Commercial Drive. Meeting was adjourned at 7:55. I don't have a meeting schedule as yet.
Thank you, Counselor. E is protection of persons and property. Counselor Langevin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have no meeting minutes to read, but I do have a meeting scheduled for next Wednesday at 7 o'clock in the Rice Conference Room, and on that agenda will be continuing the search process for the fire chief's position. And if there might be some other things added, but that's all I have at this point. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Agenda item number 5, chairperson's announcements. I have a couple. The Gateway Players look like they're starting up their 37th season. 37th season. I can't believe it. Wow, good for them. And the season is opening on March 9th with Steel Magnolias, March 9th, 10th, 16th, 17th, and 18th. There is a listing of other performances that are coming. They're going to be doing, in May, they'll do You Can't Take It With You. In August, it's Willy Wonka. They're going to do a world premiere performance way down the road, October and November, the Monkey Bar Mafia, and another performance in December, Parfumery. But they start out in March 9th, with Steel Magnolias. And as I stated, it is their 37th season, so please continue to support this wonderful, wonderful group of, and talented group that these will all, the tickets are available at 508-764-4531, and you can confirm show times and check for ticket availability. And of course, Gateway Players is at 111 Main Street here in Southbridge. The other thing I wanted to bring up, just as a kind of a reminder, as I was going through our packet this past week, there was some input from the acting fire chief regarding burning permits, and I know they're being issued right now. And I'd just like to read this quick little blurb out of Boston. During this unusually dry season, officials from Massachusetts Department of Conservation and Recreation have received a number of reports of fires from various regions around the state. With the lack of snow this winter, state fire officials are urging residents to use fire safety. It looks like, well, I'm going to quote, "Conditions are ripe for a forest fire," Chief Fire Warden Dave Celino stated. While the above-average air temperatures and lack of precipitation are great for outdoor activities, they also encourage the spread of fire. And compounding the situation is the fact that many people don't recognize the danger of burning during these conditions. Please, if you are going to burn, don't leave the area that you're burning. Stay with it until it's out. There are brush fires that are all over the place, and it's a result of the double-edged sword. It's nice that the weather has been nice this past winter, but it's made for dry conditions, so if you are burning, you have to be careful. I don't have anything else. I'd like to move on. I could, to, oh, one last thing. I'm sorry, this is down the road a little bit, but I just want you to know that you probably want to mark your calendars. March 31st, which is a Saturday, there are 2 events on March 31st. There's another free rabies clinic that will be held at the old DPW complex on Pleasant Street, and that will also be the date for Household Hazardous Waste Day up at the landfill. So that is Saturday, March 31st. And that's all I have, and I'd like to turn it over to the town manager, Mr. Clark.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do have a few announcements this evening. The first one is I have received a memo from the Tri-Epic, which is the Regional Emergency Planning Committee, that they will be hosting CERT training. CERT is Citizen Emergency Response Team, for any resident of Charlton, Dudley, Southbridge, or Sturbridge who would like to help their community. This training is free. The classes will be held at the Southbridge Community Center, the former Armory, at 153 Chestnut Street here in Southbridge. They'll be conducted on Thursday evenings from 6 to 9 p.m. for approximately 12 weeks, beginning on March 15th of this year. You must be at least 18 years of age, and a criminal records check is required. Please contact the local CERT coordinator for further information and application by March 5th. Here in Southbridge, it's firefighter Paul Nault of the Southbridge Fire, and he can be reached at 508-764-5430. The next announcement I have, I attended a Trails Committee meeting, and they indicated to me, I know this is a little bit down the road, but again, for planning purposes, that the Dudley Trail and Greenway Network and the Southbridge Trail Committee is looking for your help on April 28th, again, 2012, at the West Dudley Road off of 131 in West Dudley from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. There'll be coffee and donuts. And what they're going to do is they're going to walk along the new section of the Quinnebog River Valley Trail. They'll walk to find out the stuff that doesn't belong on the trail. Basically, they're going to be picking up trash. They do encourage that you bring work gloves and trash bags. Work gloves and trash bags to be provided around 11:30 a.m. that they'll gather and have a lunch. So if you're interested in that, April 28th, 2012, sponsored by the Southbridge Trail Committee. We hope to be making some progress in terms of the 2 bridges on that trail section down by the Golden Creek area and down by the industrial dismantling. A few other items of note. Friday, we had our first walk around for the solar RFP, solar farm up at the airport. Very pleasantly surprised. 13 companies were represented, and they came up to the site to tour the site. I believe it's March 16th is the proposal due deadline date, but an excellent turnout. I did meet with one of the companies to see if there was other areas in the town, and I think we have hit upon another area that we could consider also putting out to bid. So that is encouraging that hopefully we will be successfully in the solar electricity business. Also, I'd like just to announce that I have appointed on an interim basis the part-time position of Recreation Director. The Recreation Director has been in the budget for an extended period. That temporary appointment went to Walter Bird. I know some folks are going to say that I've lost my mind picking a newspaper guy to be the Recreation Director. I thought that originally when I met Walter, and I put him in as on the Recreation Committee, and he was a good spark plug and actually did a lot to get that committee going. This is an interim position, so it is temporary. If he puts in for the permanent position, then obviously, like anyone, he can put in for it, but it is open to anybody. So we will be hopefully getting out shortly the advertisement for the permanent position, and hopefully we'll be reviewing applications regarding that fairly shortly. And I do wish to, since we're talking about reorganization and making improvements, tonight is the first council meeting. He's behind the camera tonight, but Mike Montigny has joined the cable team. He will become the production director / editor. So if people see Mike or know Mike, he's actually also works for the school department. So he is a known commodity, and I believe he is a resident of Southbridge officially. So I think I covered about as many bases as I humanly could with that one. But he's a good person, and I'm happy to have him on board, and look forward to turning and making the next chapter in the cable operations. And that's all I have this evening, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Okay. Agenda item number 7 is the swearing-in presentation portion of the evening, and it doesn't look like we have anything this evening for that. So moving on to agenda item number 8, Citizens Forum. Do I have any citizens in the audience who wish to come forward?
John Pulaski, Jennison Street. First thing I want to do is follow up on something I said the last time I was here, my concern that according to the proposed provisional permit being provided by the DEP on the Barefoot Road landfill, the town shares the liability. We were promised a lot of things in 2007, 2008 to get this site approval. One thing was that at each level of increase on the site assignment, that we would have a hearing. We didn't have a hearing. I tried to get it going. You know, I asked a few places. I wrote, not to the town, no fault of the towns, because I wanted a hearing with state legislators. So I wrote to both of our state legislators, and I did not get a favorable reply. I was very disappointed. For example, I think when our good citizen, Mr. Cowett, spent a lot of time collecting thousands of signatures, I think, to bring the registry back to town with the help of people. I don't know if we have both sides on the council, but we had people on both sides, Councilor Clements, Councilor Nicola, other councils, Mr. I believe, people wanted to bring that back to town. Both sides worked on it. We, those of us that are concerned about the health issues related to the Barefoot Road landfill, we know we're not going to stop the landfill. We never tried to close the landfill. We just tried to keep it in a manageable level. And it turns out, to no surprise to me or anyone else, because, ladies and gentlemen, I've yet to find a landfill in the United States, Europe, South Africa, or South Asia, and I've been to landfills in all those countries, where there aren't health issues, serious health issues. We had the head of the Department of Public Health of the University, State University of New York at Albany, testify and say there's no difference between a toxic landfill and a regular trash landfill. Now, the reason I'm saying this, we do have some problems. They ought to be cleaned up right now. It's not the town really, the Board of Health could push them, but I think the DEP is going to do something about it. It's my understanding the DEP is not giving the permit right away. The permit's being delayed for a time due to the chromium and some other concerns. People are going to have water, fresh water, brought to their home because of a contamination of the water table, not of leachate. I get corrected sometimes after I speak, and the correction isn't consistent with the truth. We do have a problem with chromium and another heavy metal, lead, in the wells. When it showed up, they said the well was broken. Then it showed up in the adjacent well. So there's obviously a problem, needs to be addressed. The DEP knows about it. But what I'm asking the town to do, and it doesn't mean it has to be town taxes, it could bring in some real sweet money from the feds, where people from town, often these jobs, hire a couple dozen locals. Sadly, the workers are often from out of town. But I wish the town could wear two hats. To fight for health up there is not going to close the landfill. The DEP will not close the landfill if we accept that there's some problems. I want the town to address this problem with the water table, because some people don't want town water, especially now that there's chloramines in the water. We prefer having clean water. If you don't have clean water in your yard, because chromium and other heavy metals are flowing underneath, there's a problem. We can work together. We should have learned from the people in Charlton. They put off cleaning the gasoline. What happened? Instead of a $3 million cleanup, they had a cleanup that was over $10 million, I believe. So we can be proactive, spend a few million now, Or, a lot of people say, it doesn't matter, the federal government will fix it in 30 years. Well, maybe the federal government won't. Maybe the federal government's going to draw the line and not provide support, like the state. We used to think the cherry sheet's going to take care of all our problems. Well, in recent years, there's not as much money. I suspect the same is going to happen, especially if a Republican administration comes to Washington, where towns aren't going to get as much money. So real quick, that solar plant up there, I've said stuff before. We could be the last to do it the wrong way, the first to do it the right way. I think that's terrible. I've been involved with solar energy since 1984. That's the way we used to do it in 1984. Those same solar cells, not necessarily the same company, but that same amount of money, instead of locating in one place on valuable real estate, imagine putting it. I have a small solar farm, not very big, puts out about $72 a month of electricity. I'm a partner in it in New Mexico. If I put that same solar farm in Southbridge, Massachusetts, we'd only get $19 a month, the exact same panels. Another problem is centralizing. You know what happens if the grid goes down? We don't get the power. There are solar panels that have roofing material. We could offer it to the people, the victims of the tornado. No, maybe a little extra money, 10% more. Sorry, it's my 5 minutes. May I have 3 additional minutes?
It's up to the council.
Make a motion that he has 3 more minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We could do this. I can bring it to the town manager. He can make copies. There's a company, Unisolar. I've done business with them, Nova. And this isn't a conflict of interest. I'm not selling their product now. I haven't sold product of this nature for over 3.5 years. There was a program on Nova about 5 years ago. Dr. Stan Ovshinsky, I've had the privilege of knowing this man. He's a pioneer in what they call amorphous technology. Instead of using large quantities of energy-intensive silicon, they just use a few microns thick. It's very efficient, and we could bring power. We could help without the town costing money. We could lighten the burden on some of those people down there that are having a hard time even finding a reliable roofing company. They can have at least the south side of their roof with solar, and the federal incentives are there. So that would be really great. I'd be willing to get sadly, I lost my father. Recently, I was working, not working, it was a joy to being with him 22 hours a day, 6 days a week. I got a lot more free time now. I'm not leaving town until the holidays. I'm just remain here for the rest of the year. I'm willing to be Mr. Clark's assistant, no title, but if he wants to know about ways to work, because I have a sense sometimes, and I don't know, because we don't get to go in those meetings with the landfill operator, but I get the feeling sometimes that Mr. Clark is being kind of not beat up on, but he's being bullied, it seems almost. I mean, he's outnumbered in there, and I know he tries hard to get the most of the town, but this company is a very shrewd, capable company. They have more lawyers than engineers. They're very slick, and the best negotiator in the country will have a hard time getting the best from them. It was a challenge in 2007. They're very nice people, but we can get more. We have, remember, the most favored nation status that they promised us down the road to get the top dollar? Boy, we can use that right now. We'll get more money, even if we don't have an increase. And there's one last thing here. There's a great thing that's coming up. We have a new television station coming to Southbridge of sorts. We don't have a channel yet, but it's going to be up on southbridge.tv. And March 1st, we're going to have a pre-beta, not even the beta. The beta's April. In April, we're going to have 6 hours of programming running 3 times a day and 2 3-hour call-in shows. But March 1st, if you go to southbridge.tv, you'll see some interesting locally produced video. And something someone asked me to say today at the Big Y, they said, why doesn't the town return to the precinct voting system where we had 5 places to vote? Because not everyone has a car, ladies and gentlemen. And I bet you, if you spent the extra money, I don't know what it is, 20% more, 50% more, we're talking about the price of democracy. So kindly, if we can return in June to having the precincts within the walking distance, you might see 20%, 25%. Thank you,
You're done.
ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Have a lovely evening.
Thank you. Certainly. Go ahead,
Just-
Mr. Clark.
Just to, there's not a lot that I necessarily agree with in terms of, I do wish to just correct a couple things. Number one, I am sorry for the loss of your father. But in terms of the permit has already been issued for the 300,000 tons. That was actually issued February 9th. There was an allusion in there that it had been delayed. It was delayed because of some advertising issues, but it was started in December 9th and has been issued in final form as of February 9th. And then on the solar elements, that was a competitive bid process. We were very happy with the turnout. Also on the tornado victims, I did meet with a representative of, I think it was the Western Electrical Company in Mass, and they do offer some green alternatives for folks, and we do have information, I believe, on the website and in the area. So if folks are interested in that and buying some of the energy smart appliances, those are already available through the utility company. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Any other citizens wish to come forward? Okay, I'm going to move on to agenda item number 9. Vote to confirm the appointment of Max Gullickson to the Cable Advisory Committee for a 3-year term to expire June 30th, 2015.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Counselor Langevin?
Yes.
Counselor Livingood?
Yes.
Counselor Nicola?
Yes.
Counselor Spinelli?
Yes.
Counselor Vandal?
Yes.
Counselor Clements?
Yes.
6 yes.
Thank you. Agenda item number 10, vote to confirm the appointment of Linda Jowett to the Historical Commission for a 3-year term to expire June 30th, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? A roll call, please.
Counselor Livingood?
Yes.
Counselor Nicola?
Yes.
Counselor Spinelli?
Yes.
Counselor Vandal?
Yes.
Counselor Clements?
Yes.
Counselor Langevin?
Yes.
6 yes.
Thank you. Agenda item 11, vote to confirm the appointment of Cheryl Machazik to the Planning Board for a 3-year term to expire June 30th, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes.
Counselor Vandal?
Does Mrs. Miss Isaac work for the town, did she ever work for the town of Southbridge? Does
Do you know?
Does the senior rebate program have anything to do? They're an employee of the town of Southbridge, right? I just think that should have been put on her resume that she worked on a rebate program because she is a member of the...
Actually, there are, Mr. Vandal, there are a couple that have, Linda Jowett is actually a senior work-off volunteer.
Right.
And I believe Cheryl is, I'm not 100% certain on that, but there's no stipulation against
No, I
having them be
understand that.
a member.
I'm not saying I'm not going to
And
vote for
these
it.
people fill out their own, so
Right.
they determine what
But it
makes sense.
says here,
to
other
them.
town offices held, and she could have put down that she worked for the Planning and Development Subcommittee under the tax rebate program. Just to put it on record that she does work for the town of Southbridge.
That's not
It's the senior rebate, or the work-off program that we have. She may be a senior volunteer that they work and then they pay
Right.
off a portion of their
Exactly.
taxes.
Yeah.
But actually, and the only reason, Linda Joed also has the same, and she works in my office.
Right.
I don't necessarily, they are jobs. I think it's
But technically-
84 hours, but
Technically, they work for the town of Southbridge while they're doing their rebate program because they get paid by the town of Southbridge. Right?
But they're not 1099.
they
Just-
do, but, yeah,
It's not a big deal. It's
Yeah,
just
no,
that
no, I
I
hear
want
you.
it reflected that she worked for the Planning and Development Subcommittee while she was in here.
What Planning and
yeah,
Development
she
Subcommittee?
may have been a
Planning and
volunteer down
Development.
in
Under
planning board,
Sandy Ackley.
Oh,
economic
that's-
development.
that's different. Okay.
Okay? Thank you.
Okay. Did we go through the vote? Has everybody voted?
No,
No, we didn't
We
vote.
haven't gone through it yet?
That was
Okay.
discussion.
Counselor Nicola?
Yes.
Counselor Spinelli?
Yes.
Counselor Vandal?
Yes.
Counselor Clements?
Yes.
Counselor Langevin?
Yes.
Counselor Livingood?
Yes.
6 yes.
Thank you. Agenda item number 12, vote to confirm the appointment of Tracy Benoit to the Commission on Disabilities for a 3-year term to expire June 30th, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? A roll call, please.
Counselor Spinelli?
Yes.
Counselor Vandal?
Yes.
Counselor Clements?
Yes.
Counselor Langevin?
Yes.
Counselor Livingood?
Yes.
Counselor Nicola?
Yes.
6 yes.
Thank you. Agenda item number 13, vote to approve expenditure of up to an additional $50,000 for snow and ice removal in excess of available appropriations pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 31D.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Councilor Vandal, go ahead.
I'd like for Mr. Clark to explain this, because I don't know why we would be wanting to get $50,000
Okay.
and when we didn't have hardly any snow. So,
Okay, and he has an answer for you.
Yeah, actually, you
I've
beat
already
me, you beat me
checked.
to the punch. I thought that people would see, I think we're the 5th warmest winter on record, so I thought this would be a little bit of a unusual vote. I assure you that I've had a discussion already with the DPW director in regards to this. What's transpired is last year, we spent $675,000 on snow and ice. What we did in that circumstance is we left our sand and salt supplies really at very low levels, and we did not replenish to kind of pile on to an already bad winter. So we started this year very much behind the 8 ball. The other thing that we did was we did offset, or did put aside some vehicle repairs and maintenance, so we didn't do as much last year as we probably should have. So all those, the total of sand and salt to get us replenished for this year is about $154,000. So vehicle repair and the sand and salt. Now, we did spend on payroll about $40,000 this year, and believe it or not, we did start the year with a kind of fairly good storm. In the end of October, we had the storm. Our DPW folks call it an all-out storm, so we basically called everything in order to try to respond to that. We have had 3 sanding and plowing events that we've done in-house, so these were storms that were 2 inches or less. We've done 2 full sandings of the town. One of the things, you know, when we have the rain and the temperatures are fairly close, we run into an issue where we run into slick roads. So we did have 2 full sanding events throughout the community, and we had 7 small spot sanding events. So even though it's been a mild winter, we have actually responded. The good news is that we don't budget that much for this, and historically, we've been significantly higher, but we have expended the $200,000 that's in the budget. So basically, what this authorization would do, and I know we have snow in the forecast for the middle of this week, that we are putting some money in the budget in order to cover any storm events. And when we did the budget for this year, we had $200,200 in the DPW budget, and we put aside $100,000 in reserves to cover this. So I think for the first time, well, I shouldn't get too far ahead of myself. I think we're looking good for this year. But we do need this $50,000 in order to just bring us, to really prepare us for any of the storms that we get between now and spring. But that's the details.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for that
Does that help?
explanation. Thank you.
Anyone else? Councilor Spinelli and Councilor Langevin.
Just to recap then, so this $50,000 is really to replenish materials that we use when we're salting or sanding the roads, for the most part,
Well, actually,
and some repair work.
the $200,000 that we've spent so far has already done that. So we've spent the money that we have in the budget. We've spent about $200,000. If we have another storm event, we don't have any money. So what this is to spend up to $50,000 to cover any additional storm events.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Councilor Langevin?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to the town manager, then I just want to make sure I'm clear on this, and I believe I caught you saying last year you let the supplies, material supplies, run low.
Correct.
At the end of the year.
Correct.
So this year we had to spend, well, just on 2 items alone, about $109,000 just between the chemical and the salt, correct?
Yeah, it's actually, you got to take the 1, 2 above that. The
Right.
sand is about $8,000. The highway salt American rock salt is $48,000, and then the sodium chloride, which is the chemical, is the $63,000.
Right. With that being said, what's our supply levels currently right now for the year? Because we really haven't used a lot of it, so where we stand on that?
We're actually at about 90%, so we have 90% of the stockpile is full, is what I was told. So we're in good shape, and if we don't have any more significant events, we will go into next year with supplies, whereas last year, probably because I was begging and pleading not to spend any more money, and we spent a lot of money last year. But that's some of it. So we'll enter next year in better shape than we entered this year.
Okay. No, that's definitely good to know, because I was going to say, as you said, we had $100,000 in the reserves, and we're going to tonight appropriate $50,000. My spin-off question was going to be, well, technically then we have $50,000 more dollars in the reserve. I was going to say, well, maybe if we can get a deal on supplies this year for next year. You know, my wheels are always turning. But you answered my question. We're in better shape than last year, and hopefully this old man winter is almost done, and we'll be in better shape. So thank you.
I always react like that because I always encourage departments to turn back money. If you don't spend it, you don't need it, turn it back because it helps us for next year.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else have any questions? Could we have a roll call, please?
Counselor Vandal,
Yes.
Counselor Clements,
Yes.
Counselor Langevin,
Yes.
Counselor Livingood,
Yes.
Counselor Nicola,
Yes.
Counselor Spinelli.
Yes.
6 yes.
Thank you. Agenda item number 14, vote to ratify the audit engagement letter of 2012-2014 with Rosselli, Clark and Associates.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Counselor Clements,
Yes.
Counselor Langevin,
Yes.
Counselor Livingood,
Yes.
Counselor Nicola,
Yes,
Counselor Spinelli,
Yes.
Counselor Vandal.
Yes.
6 yes.
thank you. Agenda item number 15, vote to ratify the renewal of the license agreement between the Town of Southbridge and Jeffrey M. Tassi, trustee of Alcoma Realty Trust, for 10 parking spaces under the deck of the Elm Street parking lot at $300 a month, effective July 1st, 2012 through June 30th, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Councilor Langevin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to the town manager. These 10 parking spaces, I remember we had an issue and discussion before you were here. One of the issues was the lighting down there for safety for the women, the park under there, and I believe we rectified that. So you know where I'm going to go with this. I have no problem spending this money, but I really want to see the employees definitely using these 10 spaces and make us more customer service friendly for the public, the residents to park up front than the employees to park up front. And, you know, I understand there's issues with that, but if we could set up something that we could make that more user-friendly, I'd appreciate it, but I have no problem with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Anybody else? I have one thing. Is this $300 a month? That is the same it's been for some time,
Yes.
hasn't it? There's been no change?
No change.
Okay, thank you. Could we have a roll call, please?
Counselor Langevin,
Yes.
Counselor Livingood,
Yes.
Counselor Nicola,
Yes,
Counselor Spinelli,
Yes.
Counselor Vandal,
Yes.
Counselor Clements,
Yes.
6 yes.
thank you. Agenda item number 16, vote to ratify the bid proposal of Vision Government Solutions to perform the FY 2013 recertification at a cost of $79,600 and provide interim year service for FY 2014 and 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on that? Roll call, please.
Counselor Livingood,
Yes.
Counselor Nicola,
Yes,
Counselor Spinelli,
Yes.
Counselor Vandal,
Yes.
Counselor Clements,
Yes.
Counselor Langevin,
Yes.
6 yes.
thank you. Agenda item number 17, vote to ratify the bid proposal of Real Estate Research Consultants Incorporated for revaluation of its personal property in the amount of $23,500 and provide interim year service for FY 2014 and 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Could we have a roll call?
Counselor Nicola?
Yes.
Counselor Spinelli?
Yes.
Counselor Vandal?
Yes.
Counselor Clements?
Yes.
Counselor Langevin?
Yes.
Counselor Livingood?
Yes.
6 yes.
Thank you. Agenda item number 18, vote to enter into contract with Alanco Service Corporation for the wastewater treatment facility boiler conversion, for the wastewater treatment facility boiler conversion in the amount of $37,000 to be funded out of FY 2012 capital budget.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? I'd just like to add one thing, that in the subcommittee meeting, and it is important, in my opinion, there is a rebate of $7,500 that will come back after this.
That's correct. And one thing just on this, the $37,000 is for the conversion from oil to natural gas, and is to repair the boilers, not to replace the boilers. To replace the boilers would have been well in excess of $100,000.
Councilor Langevin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As you stated, there's a rebate, but also to inform the public, switching over, just again, to show you that we are trying to be proactive in saving money. There is a savings switching over from the oil to the gas that'll well over $5,000 per year. So, I mean, long story short, over 7 years, basically, it will pay for itself just on the savings and the rebate. So, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Counselor. Anybody else have anything? Roll call, please.
Counselor Spinelli?
Yes.
Counselor Vandal?
Yes.
Counselor Clements?
Yes.
Counselor Langevin?
Yes.
Counselor Livingood?
Yes.
Counselor Nicola?
Yes.
6 yes.
Agenda item number 19, vote to enter into contract with MHQ to purchase an F-350 dump truck with small stainless steel sander body under the Plymouth County Commissioners Cooperative Procurement Contract in the amount of $43,500.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion on this? Counselor Spinelli.
I realize that this is really being assigned as a primary responsibility of the water company, but this truck is available to do service besides just that. For example, plowing the road that comes down into the entrance, the old road and everything else. And the second part to my question, that's my understanding, that it has more flexibility. It can be used not just for the parking lot, then we put it aside. We try to take advantage of it, not to abuse it, but to anything else. And the old Ranger pickup truck that this is going to replace, are we sending it to the boneyard graveyard, or are we keeping it as a backup utility vehicle that can still service us for?
Actually, just to answer the first question, it's actually the sewer department, and I think we are going to keep, no, that's fine. And what we generally do is, just for folks at home, when we operate an enterprise account, the revenue has to be allocated towards that vehicle. So we are allocating this vehicle, and the primary use of it will be for sewer department. But we do, like we did with the airport, we sometimes take airport equipment, which is a similar type operation, and we do it for some snow plowing. There will be some limited assistance, is probably the best way to say that. On the, are we gonna, I'm trying to remember, okay, we are gonna surplus off one of the Ford Ranger trucks, 1995, will be auctioned off. We are, at this point, contemplating a May or June auction to kind of do town-wide like we've done historically.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'd just like, as a point of clarification, please correct me if I'm wrong. This had come up approximately a month, 2 months ago, where we were looking to purchase a truck for the sewer department. And while we had voted, we were getting ready to vote, it was determined that the vehicle that we were looking at might not be what we needed. And as a result of that, Mr. Daly did have somebody take one of those vehicles out and drive it around to see if it would be suitable, and it was just not really what we needed. So this is the replacement of what we initially thought we were going to be approving.
That's correct.
Correct?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
correct.
I just wanted to make sure that the public didn't think this was the second vehicle. It is the only vehicle. Okay, with that said, if there's no other discussion, could we have a roll call, please?
Counselor Vandal,
Yes.
Counselor Clements,
Yes.
Counselor Langevin,
Yes.
Counselor Livingood,
Yes.
Counselor Nicola,
Yes.
Counselor Spinelli.
Yes.
6 yes.
Thank you. 20, vote to approve the process to begin the sale of ANR, which is approval not required, lots directly along Commercial Drive, including preparation of appraisals.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Madam Chair, just if I could, I did include I believe we included a map showing the area. The town owns 45 acres along Commercial Drive, directly abutting it. This was a plan that was done by Fuss and O'Neill. They actually show a large portion because of some of the topography of the area. It doesn't necessarily lend itself to some development unless we access it from the east and the west, I guess primarily from the west. But there is a stretch, at least 4 acres immediately, and conceivably some more acreage along the frontage road. Approval not required would mean that a developer could come in, acquire those sites, and as long as they meet the various setback requirements and so on, could develop fairly quickly and effectively, as opposed to a subdivision process that may have to be followed. So what's being done tonight is just to kind of get the first nod from the council. We did discuss this kind of extensively at a subcommittee meeting, and there will be additional steps. What I'd like to do in this vote is we will commence the preparation of appraisals. I will send around a request for any departments to see if there is any other use. We do have a need for a utility section, but that's to be up closer to the western border, the northwestern border of the site, not in this area, for a water tank. So I do think that we did receive a letter of interest, and I think we should follow up on that and begin to market this area and see what we can do to start to fill up the industrial park. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Pulaski?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Clark just explained this in more detail. I was concerned that approval not required meant that the council wouldn't have to require each sale. Will the council, in a open process, will the council approve each particular sale from this dais? Because this is the only way to get top dollar. And also, Mr. Clark was mentioning bringing electricity. I've brought this up a few times over the years. This is an excellent time for an excellent opportunity. It's not difficult. It's a matter of a dozen hours with the PURPA. It's not PURPA anymore, but it's easy for the town to sell the power there. So the town could make money not only by selling the lots, but maybe make 3 to 7% of the gross cost of what the electricity is, simply by being the salesman. Not having to produce, the town has that ability. I'd rather us raise our money that way than by raising water bills and taxes. And also, I respectfully request that whoever does the appraisals up there be a different company than the company that appraised the water building. That's kind of sad. I know the town has limited funds, but it looks like that place is in disrepair, and the damage is getting worse. I don't think it's worth anywhere near. I mean, we paid a lot of money for that appraisal, and I'm not an appraiser. I'm not in the real estate business, but I think that was a terrible, exaggerated appraisal, and that should be put out there publicly to embarrass the company that gave it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Madam Chair, just in terms of the process under the procurement law, once the criteria are set that the council votes that it's surplus, once it's been appraised, then I would approach, as I've done on the 4 buildings that the town is trying to market and sell, I would approach the council and either lay out a process that sets a criteria, that once that criteria is met, then the property can be sold, or a process that we would come back with the successful bidder and see if the council wants to approve it. So there are a couple of avenues of approach. What we did do on those 4 buildings, I approached the council, asked the council that if we met the following criteria, that the town attorney and myself could then sell it once we knew what that criteria was, and the council was comfortable with that. That is the track record, if you would, that I've established so far. Those 4 buildings have not sold yet, to some degree, and to the point about having a quality appraiser. I think we did select a quality appraiser. The one thing about the appraisal business is that there's not many municipalities that have an established track record on selling a lot of buildings. It just doesn't happen that often. So getting comparable sales is a very, very difficult proposition for an appraiser when it comes to trying to market municipal property. Because generally, if you think about it, one municipality is not buying another municipality's buildings, because actually our authority stops at the town line. So it's not that common that a town has surplus, and then depending upon what type surplus that is, it depends upon who the buyer is and what the value is. So it is a somewhat specific and unique enterprise, certainly in the 21 years of me doing this. This is probably one of the most extensive sales that I've seen in the 21 years. So it is a task and a tough task. But that's a little bit of the process, and I will be back to the council to lay out what avenue that I want to do. And certainly in terms of getting the best bid, that is a requirement of the procurement law, that we advertise and attempt to get the highest bidder for the property, so the town gets the most money that it can possibly get for it. So that will be the intent, and it will be advertised accordingly.
I ask that as each step of this process goes forward, Mr. Clark, that we do discuss it as we did initially in planning and development, where we had a wonderful discussion and there was an awful lot of brainstorming and a lot of give and take. And in my opinion, as you come to the next step on this process, I would recommend that we go through planning and development so that we keep working on the process, because this is the first and could be very exciting. It could be the first business to go into our industrial park, and I think it's cause for celebration that we even have someone interested at this level.
And then, I'm sorry, there was one other point that was raised about how easy it is to get into the utility business.
No.
It took a Fortune 500 company 18 months to get the generator up there. It is a much more convoluted system than just, it's much more than a few hours of work, and I don't think it's fair to characterize that to the public. And I have been in a town that had its own electric utility, and it is a profession unto itself. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Any further discussion on this vote? Councilor Spinelli?
Just as a point of information, the term ANR, approval not required, is a term that's used for land usage. And basically what it determines is that this piece of property has legal frontage on a legally accepted road, and therefore doesn't have to have subdivision requirements or anything else, but goes in front of the planning board as simply as what it is. It's an approval not required, which means that the planning board still has to sign off on it. And this term has really nothing to do with the council itself. It's a term that applies only to the planning board. Everything that involves the decisions up there will automatically, to my understanding, go in front of the council for approval of sale no matter what. But this ANR is a term used by the planning board, something that I unfortunately have been very familiar with over the years. So it's a term describing the actual legal state of the lot itself and the land. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Councilor Spinelli. Your expertise is invaluable. Thank you. Mr. Clark?
And I appreciate the elaboration. That one of the reasons why we're doing that is to, when we go to market it, that the people that are interested in buying it will understand that term of art, understand what the obligations
Absolutely.
are, And we did, through the planning board, approve a business opportunity district, which any sale would have to be consistent with that zoning that has been put in place that this council voted previously. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Anything further on this item? Could we have a roll call, please?
Counselor Clemens?
Yes.
Counselor Langevin?
Yes.
Counselor Livingood?
Yes.
Counselor Nicola?
Yes.
Counselor Spinelli?
Yes.
Counselor Vandal?
Yes.
6 yes.
Thank you. Agenda item number 21, vote to accept the bid submitted by the Ockers Company in response to bid number 2012-02, classroom projection technology for the new middle high school, not to exceed $123,075.25, which is the low bid meeting all specifications and requirements.
So moved.
Second.
And before we go any further, I'd just like to say that all three of the last three items, which are 21, 22, and 23, have all gone through the school building committee. They have all been voted unanimously through the school building committee, and they go no further until the council reviews and votes this evening. I'd also like to mention that initially, this was a bid, was an RFP for the technology for the new middle high school. It was one piece. It was sent out to bid, and what came back was higher than the money that we have appropriated, our budget, for the technology in the school building. So we put that to one side, and we broke down the technology pieces. They're in pieces, as opposed to one technology. One company is not going to do all of the technology for the school. The three that you see this evening are ready to go. There will be two more coming down the road. They're not completed yet. And with that said, is there anybody that has anything else they'd like to add to this before we vote on it? Councilor Livingood.
Have they checked to make sure that these companies are going to work well together? Or, because I don't want to have this put into the school and then find out one system's not working well with another, and you know what I mean?
Well, if you look at the three different bids that we're putting forth tonight for approval, two are by the same company. The Ockers Company will be handling two of them, and then the third piece is Hub Technical. Hub Technical has actually done an awful lot of work in our schools already. They've already done technology work for the Southbridge district in the past. So I think that should not be an issue.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Any other questions? Councilor Langevin?
Just, Madam Chair, just again, for the general public's information, on these three next agenda items, this is all part of the $80 million, so they know that it's not coming somewhere else. And this is all part of the project, so when you're seeing all these things for the school, it's all tied in, and I just want to make sure the public does understand that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Anything else? Can we have a roll call, please?
Counselor Langevin?
Yes.
Counselor Livingood?
Yes.
Counselor Nicola?
Yes.
Counselor Spinelli?
Yes.
Counselor Vandal?
Yes.
Counselor Clemens?
Yes.
6 yes.
Thank you. Agenda item number 22, vote to accept the bid submitted by Hub Technical Services, LLC, in response to bid number 2012-03, interactive classroom technology for the new middle high school, not to exceed $84,349, which is the low bid for specified products and services, and recommend that the town accept Integrated Classroom Technology Incorporated as the subcontractor for installation and training for the products associated with this bid.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Counselor Livingood?
Yes.
Counselor Nicola?
Yes.
Counselor Spinelli?
Yes.
Counselor Vandal?
Yes.
Counselor Clemens?
Yes.
Counselor Langevin?
Yes.
6 yes.
Thank you. Agenda item number 23, vote to accept the alternate bid submitted by the Ockers Company in response to bid number 2014-04. Is that correct? Should it be
Oh, no, it's-
2012-04?
Yes.
2012-04.
Okay.
And actually, I've got, yeah.
Yeah,
That-
I'm
that
sorry.
whole thing-
It should
The whole
be
thing is wrong.
2012.
It should look like, it should say bid number 2012-04. Can you fix that for me?
Yes.
Thank you. Audio enhancement technology for the new middle high school not to exceed $79,686, which is the low bid meeting all specifications and requirements.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Can we have a roll call, please?
Counselor Nicola?
Yes.
Counselor Spinelli?
Yes.
Counselor Vandal?
Yes.
Counselor Clements?
Yes.
Counselor Langevin?
Yes.
Counselor Livingood?
Yes.
6 yes.
Thank you. Agenda item number 24 is Councilors' Forum. Counselor Vandal?
The new street sweeper's in, I believe, right?
Yes.
I think we got to put it to use on Main Street. The Main Street's filthy. The gutter's got all kinds of papers down in front of the rent-a-budget down here or whatever. The street's very, very filthy. So I think we got to get the sweeper in operation soon. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Livingood?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple of things. We're spending a lot of money on a new school, technology, and everything that goes with it. It's going to be a beautiful place for learning. I just hope parents and students all alike kind of take it upon themselves to start putting more effort into themselves. All the beautiful schools and all the money in the world isn't going to make a good education if somebody's not willing to accept it and work at it. So I just don't want to see us spending a lot of money and still not improve our schools. A new school can add something because some people, it makes you feel a lot better about your school. But we need an attitude change in America with parents and students, and it's a place of learning. And we can't, we can spend all the money in the world, and if you're really not interested and your parents aren't making you do what you need to do and you don't do what you need to do, it isn't going to make a whole lot of difference. So I just challenge everyone why don't we just start looking forward to education with our children and helping them? That's the way it used to be. That's the way it should be. And one other thing, I'd like to send our prayers out to the families in Chardon, Ohio. The one last thing you'd expect your kids going to school is to get killed in school. And seems to be every day almost you hear something like that. It's just a sad state of affairs. That's all I have. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Spinelli?
To go along with something that Councilor Livingood said, on February 15th, I'm going to bring this up as a plug for the school system. I mean, we're talking a lot, $80 million for a new school, but we still have tremendous teachers and tremendous children in the school system right now. And I was able to attend, for the Wells Junior High School Drama Club, a mystery dinner play called Dinner at 8, Death at 9. And it was a comedy. And if anyone knows comedy, it's the most difficult art form to portray and to come across. Just the timing alone is remarkable. And these young men and women did an absolutely remarkable job. I was amazed at it. I took guests from Southbridge, and they were just amazed at the polish and professionalism of these junior high school students. On February 16th at Charlton Street School, part of the Children's Heritage Studies, part of their social studies curriculum, they were putting on classroom demonstrations, as part of their curriculum for learning about the different town cultures. And the countries that were done this year were Italy, Puerto Rico, Greece, Albania, Cape Verde, Laos, Canada, and China. And once again, I did not have the opportunity to attend, but my wife did, and she said the children did an absolutely remarkable job. And to see their enthusiasm and participation is something that's wonderful, and it's a joy to behold. And it's a shame that more parents can't have the opportunity, or grandparents, to go down and see these children, because they really do need our support and our appreciation for what they do. And one last thing to go along with this. This Thursday, March 1st, at the high school, there is a program being put on by the junior and senior high school chorus, and it's all-you-can-eat pasta dinner and their entertainment, and it's called Disney Dinner. And when I was at the Wells, less than half of the seats were filled and occupied, and they put on a wonderful pasta dinner that was absolutely delicious, and it was all you could eat. And again, this is what's going on here March 1st. And I didn't fill myself or overstuff. I was tempted to, but it was delicious. And so I would strongly recommend people, you want to go out and have a very cheap, enjoyable evening and support the children in our town and the schools and what the teachers put forth, then this is an excellent opportunity, and I hope that more people will be able to attend this Disney dinner. And I would appreciate it because my wife and I are going to be there, and if it's anything like the February 15th show, it's going to be wonderful. So kudos to all the teachers and all the work that they do, and the students especially. You should be proud of yourselves. You did an excellent job. Thank you.
Counselor, what time did you say that dinner was again?
I didn't.
Oh, you don't know? Okay.
I believe it's at 6 or 6:30. I'm
Very
sorry.
good. That's okay. That's okay. Anybody interested certainly can look into that. Thank you
Yes.
very much. Counselor Langevin?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Nothing this evening.
Nothing? Okay. Counselor Clements?
Thank you, Madam Chair. A couple things. Through you to the town manager, I was just curious, the concern Mr. Pulaski had on the voting. I just want to make sure I'm clear, didn't we change the precincts because of safety issues with having precincts in the schools with the children, or that was part of one of the reasons was having the altered day situation when we had voting in the schools, when we were using Charles Street and Eastwood Road as voting? I thought part of the reason for changing was because of the interruption with the school and there were various components.
I think there were various components. The town clerk came in and did a presentation, and that was one of the components. The other one, obviously, was cost effectiveness
Right.
of the elections. Plus, we have a site that accommodates itself to doing, and we've run the election having all five, and I think we've run it fairly successfully, so.
I just wanted to clarify some of the reasonings that we didn't just decide to do it and make it more difficult for anybody to get to, so thank you for clarifying that. Also, I noticed this evening we didn't have any businesses doing any presentations, and I would like to just address that. And I know you have your intern, and you mentioned potentially that being one of the projects for her to get out there and or to at least perhaps coordinate that a little bit better for us. And I, again, have gotten a lot of positive feedback and would like to, for us to pursue that and to encourage businesses that are already established as well as the new businesses. And I know there's another tax place on Central I saw that was opened up in one of the vacant storefronts there. And the laptop place is open officially, so I don't know if we want to approach them again. But there are some more new businesses, and I certainly want to encourage everybody to come forward and let us know that you're new or that you've been here a long time. Would love to hear your history. At least I would, to know some of these people a little bit more. Hopefully everybody does. And then I'm a little concerned, you know, we continue with the trash, we continue with our trash enforcer and all those good things that are going around, and it looks like our recycling rates have been up recently and all, and that's great, we're all doing our part. There was some concern that was brought to my attention recently in regard to people observing other members of the town acting, I guess you'd call it illegally or inappropriately. And I would just encourage, and I know we've said this before, I would encourage you as a citizen and not wanting our systems and our benefits to be abused, that you report things. You don't have to say your name. If you see something being done, for instance, somebody putting trash in somebody else's container because they don't have containers, then certainly if you have a license plate number or if you know of this happening, contact the Board of Health office, contact me, contact another counselor. Let us know. You don't have to give a name, but if you have legitimate concerns at the time it's happening especially, then we can send our enforcement person over and take a look and see if they can determine whose trash is being illegally dumped, then that will help all of us here in the community. The last thing we need is illegal dumping and more trash on the streets, and it isn't fair for the law-abiding or by law-abiding citizens to be abused and by those who think that they're better than the system. So the rules are put in place for all the citizens here in our community, and I encourage you, some people may not want to hear that, but I do encourage you to do the right thing if you have the ability, just like with the dog situation. If you know of people that are abusing the system, feel free to contact somebody and let us know. If we don't really know what's going on when it happens, then it's very hard to enforce. But as the chief had said with the dog issue, if you know what's happening and you can report that to the police side of it, they can get somebody on top of it. The trash goes the same way. If you can report it and we can determine whose trash it is by virtue of checking out those bags, then they will do something about it. They've done it in the past. They've gotten people in other towns. So I encourage you to be an active, proactive citizen here in our community and do the right thing. Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay. Very good. I'd like to just add one thing. I know that I had my time, but I am a counselor, so I just want to add something regarding the school to what Councilor Livingood said. You know, the third Saturday of every month, you have an opportunity to tour the new facility that's being built. This past February 17th, a couple of Fridays ago, we had an opportunity to go into the middle high school, and we did so with Senator Moore, State Rep Pete Durant, and a bunch of other people. There were a lot of people that came. It was wonderful. And it certainly gives you an idea as to what this facility is going to offer to the students in this town. And it's a heck of a lot more than they do have right now. A heck of a lot more. Hopefully that will help to motivate a lot of kids who aren't motivated now. And I'm not saying that's through the fault of the faculty or to anybody, actually. But I do agree with Councilor Livingood that this is something that has to be done in partnership with the parents and other interested people in the lives of these students. It cannot just be the faculty at the high school, the middle school, the school committee, the town council, the superintendent, the town manager. We are not the parents of your children. We are doing our part to give them a quality location, quality teachers, a good education. You need to do your part too. And that's going to require some real hard work that I haven't seen. I don't see you. I attended on the night before, I guess the 16th, at the high school was the retiring of the auditorium because it was the last home game that the basketball team would be playing in the auditorium. The place was packed. In the gymnasium, I'm sorry. It was packed. And we won. I couldn't stay for the whole game because I had a couple of subcommittee meetings here, but it was great to see an awful lot of people, a lot of parents, a lot of kids. It was great. We need more of that. You know, people talk about how there's a lot of pride in this community. Let's start showing more of that and show it through our youth. That's really what this whole school is about, is the kids. And what, you know, when you do something like that, it can only reflect upon the rest of us. And I do agree with you that people do need to rethink the way they think about a school. It's not a place where you send your child to be brought up. It's in conjunction with what you do at home. So please, consider that. And again, consider, if you have a chance, to attend one of these tours of the facility. All you need to do is contact the school superintendent's office, let them know you're interested, they'll put you on the list. It's a wonderful tour. You will be amazed at what you see. They're working on it constantly, and I don't think there's anything around that's quite like it, to tell you the truth. I'm very proud of what's going on up there, and you should be too. Okay, thank you. Agenda item number 25, discussion of next meeting date. Councilor Clements?
Thank you. That will be Monday, March 12th, 2012, 7 p.m. here in Chambers.
Okay, thank you. Agenda item number 26 is adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Second. All in favor? Thank you. The meeting's adjourned. Good night.